it ties in with Thanksgiving also. What's your deck of cards? What do you have? What do you have to work with? And how can you bluff your way to success? Life is simple. It's very simple. If you have a good deck of cards, be thankful and hold the value of those cards to yourself. Bind it to your manhood so that you don't squander one bit of the cards that you have. Alright, how's it going? Augustus V, once more. It's been a while. It has been a while. Much has happened. Much has transpired since we've last met. And for those of you that aren't content creators, I'll just start by saying this. You have no idea how difficult it is to stay encouraged, to stay to produce content on YouTube, regardless of all of the breathing down one's back, one's shoulder. See, without being able to just tell the truth. There's nothing more demotivating. But this is a form of an attack. Those that love God, those that are of God, those that are willing to do His work. See. So, we can't let it end like this. And we can't allow a halt either. It's been a while. It's been a great halt. See. But we can't let it end. We have to pick up momentum. We have to keep it going. As of the time and day that I record this, there's about 300 of you guys in my channel. And I appreciate every one of you guys. So to show my appreciation, regardless of YouTube's strikes and attacks, I'm going to continue to push through this wall for you guys. So saying all of that to say this, I'm back. To one of my brothers out there that has seen me, him and his mother. I love you guys. Thank you guys for being there for me in my time of need. And your kindness will forever be remembered and appreciated. Now, today we'll be discussing many matters, and I have many projects on my list, so there will be much content coming out, not necessarily on YouTube. You will have to follow me outside of YouTube to really see what's going on with my library. Like I've said, I've unleashed my library and I've put it out into the rest of the online world, meaning that you could pretty much find my audiobooks on every major audiobook producer other than Amazon. Amazon, they're too big for the britches right now, and they're not encouragers of indie artists, if you will. And it's really it's really placed a chokehold on true philosophy. Their algorithm is not for truth. It's not set up for truth. Their algorithm is clearly biased to those that push these secular, worldly agendas. So other than Amazon or Audible, you can pretty much find my content there. But that brings me to our topic today, and it's a loose topic, but it's very important, and I believe it's a good way for us to get back to hit the ground running, if you will. So we're going to do another scroll of wisdom, another scroll, and this will be placed in my audiobooks. So though I intend for this to hit YouTube, I understand that it may get striked, it may get banned, it may get shadow banned, or whatever method of attack the powers that be, or the pawns that be, may choose. So let's get into it. We have a lot of people today that speak their mind. This is a information generation. And there's a lot of stuff for people to fill their minds with. Pandora's box is clearly open, because this is one of the only times throughout history, throughout human existence, where someone could fill their mind with so much stuff that has so little productivity in it. Think about it. In ancient times, if you were knowledgeable about much, that automatically meant that you had many skills and many trades attributed to your knowledge. A deeper example of this is if you knew much about the dirt in ancient times. This means that you understood a good amount of variety concerning dirt, meaning that you had a good idea of soil, meaning that you had a good idea of the potential of soil, meaning that you, in all essence, would be a good source for gardening, for farming. Just by understanding dirt. That's automatic productivity attributed to that knowledge. Now let someone be an expert in dirt today. They may have a YouTube channel also, like myself. They may have books that they've written about dirt. They may even have dirt analogies that may produce a plethora of personal development books using this dirt and the psychology of dirt as an analogy for people to better themselves. But guess what? No productivity. No productivity. No guarantee that this person will be effective, will be taking action with the knowledge that they have. So we have a lot of experts today. Experts even in the field of psychology that can't show people how to use their minds. Pandora's box is open, people. It's wide open. So when people have minds that are full of information with minimal productivity, needless to say, they don't qualify to speak their mind. They don't qualify. Products, quality in products from productivity being the results of that one's mind, that's the only thing that qualifies one to speak it, to speak their mind. If someone can use their mind to produce a product that has a automatic attributed value to it, value to others, not their self, value to others, value to human existence, value that can actually be translated to the existence of other life forms and not at the expense of mankind's benefit. That's a mind worth listening to. That's a mind worth listening to. When you could pay someone $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, some $20,000 to mentor you, to show you a thing, and then they turn around and tell you that there's no guarantee that you will be successful in that thing, that person played you. When someone can tell another, when someone can successfully sell to another, mentorship or the idea thereof, with no guaranteed results, not only are they saying that they are a faulty mentor, but they're also saying that they have no value, no true value to give to a mentee. See, this is common today. It doesn't matter what field of business you're getting into, or what field of business that you may already be into. There's hundreds, maybe even thousands of salesmen that are willing to teach others and even mentor them, so to speak, to become as successful as they are. They'll charge them, knowing that they're poor. They'll still charge them whatever bit that they have. And then, quote unquote, mentor them, guide them for the chances of being successful. That's a mind that has nothing to give. A mind that's not worth listening to. A mind that doesn't qualify to be spoken. That person doesn't qualify to speak their mind. From the time that I'm recording this generation, the generation before, and the generation before that have all been taught to speak their minds. See? To no avail. The mind is not purposed for speaking alone. If you ask me, that's if you're asking. I believe that the mind is actually too powerful to be expressed through words alone. It's much too powerful. Show me your mind. Okay, yeah, let me speak some words to you. That's not gonna cut it. The mind is too powerful to be spoken through words. Here's an example. In most cases, with going back to those mentors, those expensive mentors, most mentors that have the most successful results within their mentees when they speak their mind, the majority of the people that they speak their mind to are usually offended by their words. I'm going to repeat that. The most successful speakers, the most productive mentors are the ones that are offending everybody. Why? Because their mind actually has productivity in it. It has the potential of productivity. But their mind has too much power in it to be properly and adequately expressed through words, thus resulting in offense. Major offenses. What does Proverbs says? Correct a fool and he'll hate you. Well, mentees are fools in that art that they're seeking mentorship for. Mentees, students, they're fools, they're ignorant, they're not of knowledge in that art that they're seeking instruction on. So when they're instructed, automatic offense. Now, it is good to tie in another proverb. A soft answer turneth away wrath. See, now this is where we have our Tony Robbins speakers. The touchy-feely, the ones that make you feel good. See. But when you add sugar to a dose of medicine, it becomes easy to forget that it's not the sugar that's fixing you. It's the stuff that doesn't taste too good. So, this is just a small example for why the mind is too powerful to be adequately, fully expressed through words. I remember 50 Cent mentioned in one of his books, I believe it was Bruce Willis. He was at a banquet with, and he noticed how everyone, allow me to badger this story, but he noticed how everyone was just drawn in to him. Now, there were other celebrities at this table, mind you. Big rigs, guys that are up there with him, especially in their own fields. But when he spoke, he drew everyone in. Everyone kind of leaned in. See, when he was speaking. And fifth, being the student, the ongoing student that he is and always was, he asked Bruce, Mr. Willis, after that, he said, "Hey, how did you do that?" And Bruce Willis knew exactly what he was talking about. He said, "Don't project your voice. Not all the time. Not when you want people to listen to you. Make people stress their hearing. Make people expound their hearing instead. I'm badgering this story badly, but this is powerful. Cause people to expand their hearing. Don't make people cause you to expand your voice. By doing so, you'll draw people in every time. Then he challenged 50 Cent to try it himself, and he said he tried it and it worked like a charm. That's how the mind works. The mind is so powerful that it has to cause the observers of that mind to work for it. To work in some sense in order to grasp that mind, in order to benefit from that mind, especially if that mind is the result of blood, sweat, and tears over the years. Blood being spilled for knowledge. Sweat being toiled for knowledge. Tears being exerted from knowledge. All three are a commonality. A common price and a small price for knowledge, the very thing that builds the mind. Everyone has a lot of knowledge these days. Let's not negate that. There's many that have spilled blood, sweat, and tears for what they know. But the problem, going back to our first point, is not like ancient times. It's not like Moses. It's not like Abraham. It's not like Jacob. What people bleed, sweat, and mourn for today, in most cases, is not connected automatically with productivity, meaning that one have to bleed, sweat, and mourn to gain knowledge specifically on productivity. People have to learn about productivity just so that they can attribute it to all this other knowledge that they have. And the striking reality that people get that take this path, one of the first realities that they get is that they don't have to be the smartest person in the room all the time. Yeah, you don't have to be that smart to be where you want to be. You don't. This is a common misconception, and I wonder why. It's been programmed. It's been programmed. It's been programmed for us to think that we will be ahead of the curve just because we know a thing or two. One thing to remember about those that are ahead of the curve They didn't run to be ahead of the curve. They didn't even fly to be ahead of the curve. They created the curve. If you want to be ahead of the curve today, I mean, we're not that special. If you want to be ahead of the curve throughout all of existence, all of human existence, since we've been on this earth, you have to create the curve. It's always been like this. Alexander the Great was the great because he understood that he had to create the curve. What did the Gordians say? What did they say to Alexander when they had that Gordian knot? When they told him, the person, the Greek that can split this knot, that can untie this knot, will be graced by the gods to take out the Persians, to overcome Asia. What did Alexander do? He said, all I gotta do is untie it. They said, yeah, that's all you gotta do. He took his sword out and chopped the knot in half. You could imagine those priests, those oracles, with that knot was sitting there looking at that split knot, scratching their heads like, well, I mean, I guess that counts. This man was creating the curve. So if you want to be ahead of the curve today, figure out what you're good at. Create a curve for others to follow. And don't allow anyone to pass you up in it. You will be ahead of the curve. Say, I don't know, that sounds a little narcissistic. You probably won't be ahead of the curve then. Say, that sounds a little selfish. Well, because of compassion, you probably won't be ahead of the curve. See? I don't know. I think I should study a little more and analyze this a little more just to make sure that I'm not making a mistake. Okay? Out of fear, you will not be ahead of the curve. It's that simple. It's that simple. Let me pull back a little before my mind offends. See how that works? See how that works? Too much mind through words and offense takes place. There's only one person that's not offended by the mind, a productive mind, that is. And that's people that already did that. Those are the only ones. The only people that aren't offended by a productive mind are those that have already produced the thing that the target mind is revealing. They've already produced that thing, and they understand exactly what that person that's talking about it is getting at. Yeah, I remember I had to overcome fear before I could accomplish this. Yeah, I remember I had to overcome overthinking so that I could accomplish this. Oh yeah, I was too nice too. Yeah, I had to overcome that before I could accomplish this. I could tell that this guy that's expounding his mind knows what he's talking about. And that's another issue today. That's the main issue. Once we look back on this, on our first point, people don't know what they're talking about. Because what they know does not have productivity attached to it. In ancient times, you didn't have to learn productivity. That was programmed in you. See? Today, people have been programmed to be unproductive. So we have to learn productivity. And the cycle is simple. Easy times, weak men. Hard times, strong men. These times are easy. These times are easy. I remember during 2020 and that great catastrophe of 2020. I remember seeing on the news there was this Italian gentleman that was dealing with the toilet paper and bread issue. And this gentleman, you could tell he enjoyed his bread. You could tell he enjoyed his pasta. You know, you could tell that he enjoyed some good Italian food. And a news reporter apparently asked him of his thoughts of the whole catastrophe. And this is an older gentleman. I'm not going to say he was a generationalist, right? He was definitely younger than that, but he was definitely a baby boomer, if anything. And he said, "I've never seen this much panic in my life." He said, "And I've been through real catastrophes. I've seen real catastrophes, and I haven't seen this much panic." What was he getting at? Weak people. We're going to leave the women out of this. When it comes to weak and strong, because that's a whole nother matter. But concerning the men, yeah. To panic so much. And it shows also the great dependency on technology, on lab-produced food. When you don't know how to grow your own stuff, yeah, that is a catastrophe. If a store stops producing certain foods, store doesn't have you need. If the shelves are clean. During 2020, those shelves were so clean you could eat off of them. But it wasn't really a real issue. See, weak times. These aren't times of war, people. People are still warring, right? People are still warring. There's always going to be something to fight over. But these aren't times of war. These aren't times of total war. You know, just a little squabble over some oil over here. A little squabble over a vacuum over there. No big deal. See? And if you're a soldier for this country, I mean, my hat is still off to you. But we all know the cat's been out the bag. No one truly knows what we're fighting for in the first place. That's been out the bag since Nixon. See? If you're a soldier today, it's probably because your daddy was, your granddaddy was, your great-grand was, your grandma probably was. You come from a military family. Or you're just fascinated with war. But it's not because we need you. It's not because we truly need a defense. When one party funds both sides of a war, that's not a war. That's a chess game. That's a system. That's a matrix. See? Like I said, my hat is off to you, and I'm thankful for all of our soldiers. But I urge you all to not be ignorant when you go on the battlefield. Do it for the love of your country, and hey, let's be honest, for the love of war. War can be fun. War can be addictive. War is sports on steroids, so there is beauty in that. There is glory in that. See? But this is the whole game. These are weak times. These aren't times of real war. These are times of peace, actually. The good side of it is things will remain this way for a while. The downside is things will remain this way. There's going to be some weak men. Nations of weak men. Why? Because there's no need for strong ones. There's no need. So if you're going to live a life as a strong man, if you're going to live a life according to God's word, you're going to have to make a real cognitive, mind-based effort to learn what they, quote unquote, are not putting in front of you, what they're not showing you, what they're not teaching you. You have to put out more effort than ever before to find this information and to study productivity. Now, how do you study productivity? How? Well, I would love to say it's simple, but it can get complicated so quickly, that it wouldn't even matter how simple it is. It wouldn't even matter. But I will say that it is simple. You have to separate emotion. If that's an issue for you, then that's another book that I will be handling. And I pretty much put the key to handling emotion in all of my books. I try my best to stress the importance of doing so. But you have to set emotion aside. You can't be effeminate. You have to have full confidence that you could do a 7-day fast, no food, no problem. You have to have full confidence in yourself on those things. See? No music, no entertainment, 7 days, at least. You have to have the full confidence to know that you can set aside those things that you don't need whenever you want to. Most people will call that willpower. I would say the term fits. But once you have that covered, now you can study productivity. And the first thing is self-analysis. Analyze. Ask yourself, can you fast? No problem. No temptation. See? Can you make your time with God the replacement for your time with entertainment? And how long can you go spending time with God before you need a break? See? Self-analysis. And then you can finally ask yourself, you can start challenging yourself just in your daily routine. What am I doing that's productive and what am I doing that's not? One of your friends call. They say, hey man, it's the weekend, you know what's up. Time to go out clubbing. Time to find some hot young girls that we could talk to. Is that productive? You may have already went clubbing a couple of weeks ago, and now that girl that you didn't think was gonna call, out of all the girls, she calls. And she calls at a tempting time. Is that productive? Did you start something productive, like a project? And will that tie into your productivity? Some of you guys got girlfriends, women that you have made a bond with, a binding bond. This isn't a free bond, this is a binding bond. Some of your girls, they're not adding to your productivity. Say, well, what's wrong with having girlfriends? There's nowhere in scripture where a man of productivity had a girlfriend. Girlfriends are really supposed to stop after high school. Dating isn't even biblical. A real relationship in ancient times was conducted by the father and the future son-in-law. The daughter would give his daughter to whoever the father thought was a good candidate to be the husband of his daughter. Why? Men back then didn't have time for dating. Men back then would have never made the time for dating. The concept of it is despicable and pagan in roots. Dating. And to be honest, men today of productivity don't have time for dating either. That's just the brutal, honest truth. This is just with women. This is just productivity dealing with women. I don't think we really even have time to go into business and all of the greater things. Spirituality, your eternity, productivity. Yeah. Do we even have time for this one? Productivity. You have to analyze. That's a phone call. Okay. Who is it? That's the girl from last week, huh? Well, I've already started this project that will lead to me being in a better financial position. And I know if I spend any time towards this girl in order to get what I want from her, we're gonna be real here, it's gonna lead to me losing all the time that I need that should be going to this productive financial move that I've just made. See? It's simple. It is simple. But it can get complicated so quickly. Productivity is what you need to do. Productivity is what the responsible thing for you to do is. Everything else doesn't matter. And that's the harsh truth. That's the harsh truth. We have grown men complaining about their father not being able to make their baseball game. Grown men. Why would a grown man that intends to be a father someday complain that his father never made baseball games or football games or what have you? It's almost as if he's being ungrateful or something. It's almost as if he believes that all men in his position grew up with the father that was grinding so that he could even afford to be on the team. See? So productivity, in some cases, it ties in with Thanksgiving also. What's your deck of cards? What do you have? What do you have to work with? And how can you bluff your way to success? Life is simple. It's very simple. If you have a good deck of cards, be thankful and hold the value of those cards to yourself. Bind it to your manhood so that you don't squander one bit of the cards that you have. And if you don't have a good deck of cards, value the potential of what you have to such a degree that you can get those with better deck of cards than you to fold. It's not about what deck of cards you start out with. It's about how you use them. Productivity allows you to use whatever you have. And here's one that we don't hear this one enough. The one with the worst deck of cards works the same amount as the one with the best deck of cards. I'm gonna say that one more time. For success, in order to win the game, it requires the same amount of work from the one with the worst deck of cards as the same amount of work for the one with the best deck of cards. All it comes down to is what it takes. What it takes to win. If the one with the best deck of cards decides that they don't have to work that hard, they lose what they have. If the one with no deck of cards, the worst deck of cards, if they decide that, hey, I don't have to work that hard, God's gonna give it to me, then as scripture says, that talent will be taken from him and given to those that put in the work. It's simple. It really is. But when your emotions get tied into it, when your convictions get tied into it, when your programming gets tied into it, it becomes very complicated very quickly. This is the game, people. This is the game. So many people that speak their minds, that are absent of productivity. And this is wisdom. This is wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing. And for those that haven't heard me break this down before, wisdom is simply obeying God. That's all it is. It's not the ability to think a matter into the ground or to question a matter into the ground. That's Socratics. See? In thinking a matter into the ground, that may be philosophy, the love of wisdom, but that's not the wisdom of God. See? And any other wisdom than the wisdom of God, it has flaws in it. So much that if you make enough of a mistake, people will look at your wise decision and say, wow, what a fool this is. It happens all the time. Elon Musk is wise, but all it would take is one trip to Mars, right? And all it takes is one mistake, one flaw, big enough for him to realize how much he messed up, for the entire world to see him as a fool. For decades, people will look at all of his achievements and say, wow, this was a fool. But he designed the first electric car. Not the first, but he designed the electric car. Yeah, but it was foolish for him to do something like that so that he could visit Mars, so that he could colonize Mars. Well, I mean, he put a satellite 5G in the air, sitting right there next to the internet dish. Yeah, but it was foolish because he was doing it so that he could colonize Mars. He attempts to colonize Mars and things go so bad. People will forget that they called him wise for his achievements. See, why? It wasn't the wisdom of God. It's that simple. You're not supposed to be wise about stuff that you want to be wise about. If you're going to be wise, it should align with the Most High. These are scrolls of wisdom. This is wisdom. A lot of people, they fill their mind with stuff, and that stuff doesn't produce other stuff. Some may say, well, there's some people that produce bad stuff. That's not productivity. That's abomination. That's not producing, that's destroying. See? And that is a matter that we don't have time for. Our time is just about up. But I am back. And I'll be doing more. I just gotta find a better platform. And I will be posting to YouTube more often. Wherever I move to, I'll keep you guys in the loop. But we're back. But the key takeaway here, it's okay to fill the mind with things. But let's first study productivity. Let's understand that one first. Let's allow productivity and what we learn from it to reveal to us that we don't have to be geniuses in order to win at a thing. And then let's tie whatever we fill our minds with productivity. The best way is making sure that whatever we fill our minds with align with the Word of God. It has to align with God. That's where true productivity comes from, because God will never steer us wrong, and He'll never make a mistake either. But Augustus, the Bible is so outdated. It's so outdated. That's good. That means that it's written in coded form. It's written in code, so that those that are outsiders to this word, those that this word was not written to, would not be able to understand it. And they wouldn't be able to make it harder for you to do this thing. The things that the word reveals to you. The Bible is dated. But seeing how everything in this world, seeing how everything in mankind is cyclical anyway, we're just gonna go right back to where things originated eventually. See? So God has never steered us wrong. He never would. He gave us a book that's dated because it's coded for us to decode, for us to attribute to today's times. That's the only tough thing that we have to do. Just say, okay, all right, a seed, a sower soweth a seed. Okay, what's the modern day version of a seed? Okay, what's the modern day version of a farmer? Okay, how can I become a farmer? What's seed for a farmer today? What's water? What's good soil? See? And how long will it take before I get my harvest? Things of that nature. See? It's a little tricky, but it's not a big deal. The word still works. And if we fill our mind with enough of it, if we fill our mind with things that we've already been filling our minds with, but understanding that productivity needs to be attached to it, we can take dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowls of the air. We could walk into our kingship. See? And ladies, by you understanding these things, you can know what to identify in a good man, so that you can follow him within his kingship. You can be within his domain. This is what it comes down to. The wisdom of God. Our minds are too powerful to be used through words alone. Our minds are given to us for action, for productivity. And productivity only comes from a mind that is aligned with God, with His Word. In the absence of God's Word in this country, in these times, in this world today, is the result of people filling their minds with stuff that has no productivity to it is actually not the result, it's the cause. The cause of people filling their minds with no productivity. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for liking. Thank you for sharing. Love you guys. Stay wise.